Playing as a medic in Foxhole isn't just about healing wounds, it's about keeping players up and keeping the front moving forward. In a game where every life counts and the front is constantly shifting, a good medic can turn the tide of battle with a single well-timed revive. If you're looking for a role that's high impact, rewarding, and always in demand, medic might be just for you. Gamers who enjoy support roles naturally gravitate toward being a medic in Foxhole. It's one of the easiest roles for new players to jump into, with a simple loadout and a clear purpose from the moment you spawn. Let's break down 10 tips that will help you become a more effective and reliable medic on the battlefield. For the first tip, let's talk about your loadout and equipment. The standard loadout to equip as a medic is 1 trauma kit, 1 first aid kit, 10 bandages, and 5 plasma. You will also want to put on a medic uniform. This will increase your carrying capacity of all medical gear. When available, I like to wear a gas mask and bring filters as well. Once gas grenades are teched, they tend to show up all over the battlefield. Wearing this will make it easier for you to run in and save a down player in the cloud of gas. I believe radios are nice to have, but not necessary. I like to have one so I know what's going on around me. One of the main things to remember about your loadout is to not overpack, as medics are often high priority targets on the battlefield. You likely won't survive long enough to use more than a single stack of bandages, or all of your plasma most of the time. Once you have your loadout, make sure you create a preset at the bunker base for your medic role. That way you don't have to pull each item every time yourself. And out on the battlefield, make sure to check bags on the ground for dropped medical gear. Make sure to prioritize your own life before recovering the gear though. Don't go for loot that's too risky. If you can, always try to recover your kit when you die. A medic consistently dying on the front and just pulling a new inventory every time they die, instead of recovering their old stuff, is one of the fastest ways to drain logi from a front. Which brings us to the next tip, movement on the front. As a medic, your job isn't just healing, it's keeping players in the fight and pushing the front forward. That means you need to stay active and mobile, near the front but not recklessly exposed. Always be moving around the battlefield. Don't hang back waiting for injured players to come to you. That slows everything down and wastes valuable time. If you see someone down in a place they can be revived, get them up. If they're downed in the open, try to move them to safety. If someone else is carrying a downed soldier, run to help them as well. When healing, stay cautious. Avoid bunching up with others in trenches or foxholes, as these are prime grenade targets. Either heal and get out quickly from the trench or heal from the outside of the trench. Before picking someone up to revive them, put away your medical bag or weapon first to shorten the animation time. Once you grab them, carry them back to a safe spot. Don't set them down until you feel as though it's safe. If it's too dangerous to recover someone, then you're probably too far forward on the battlefield. I normally like to stay within about 20 to 30 meters of the front line. Aggressive medics can make a big difference though. If you stick just behind the main push, medics running alongside the infantry can dramatically increase the odds of holding or taking ground. But you should always value your life over the infantry's. Your loadout is expensive, and your gear is often worth more than 6 infantry lives. And another thing to remember about movement is that you don't have to wait for the full pickup animation to revive someone. Once your character starts to animate the pickup, you can immediately begin moving back to a safe spot, and the body will snap onto your shoulders from several meters away. This one sometimes takes practice. The last thing for movement is to always keep scanning ahead. Don't get tunnel vision. Avoid staying in crowded areas, especially if it looks like a grenade or artillery shell could be coming, because most of the time there always is one. And this is where we learn the next important tip, that you can't always save everyone. Every soldier on the battlefield has value, but it's important to accept the fact that you can't save everyone. Sometimes players get themselves killed doing reckless things, like charging into machine gun fire or tanks. It's not your job to throw your life away trying to rescue them. You're more useful alive and available to help others than becoming another casualty trying to be a hero. It's tempting to go for the dramatic save under fire, but most of the time it's not worth the risk. As you gain more experience, you'll learn when it's safe to go for a revive, and when it's better to hold back. When you first start out as a medic, it's better to lean towards being cautious. Sometimes the enemy will deliberately leave a wounded soldier alive to bait medics out. They'll use machine guns and snipers and aim at the wounded body, waiting for you to come along. Try to assess these kind of situations as soon as you can, so you don't end up in the same dead pile. And above all, don't let guilt drive your decisions. You're there to keep as many people alive as possible, not save everyone at any cost. Plus, there will be plenty of other medics on the field to assist you as well. Which leads me to our next tip, no medic parties. If you notice too many medics in one area, don't hesitate to shift to another part of the front. Spread out and communicate with other medics to make sure coverage is balanced. Some areas often end up overrun with medics while others have none. Clustering in one spot not only reduces your overall effectiveness, but also invites disaster, especially when artillery or mortars are involved. From my experience, I've noticed that when medics group together for more than a few seconds, they tend to attract shells like magnets, and losing multiple medics at once can really damage a front line. If you see another medic already treating someone, there's usually no need to assist. Your time is better spent finding someone else who actually needs help. It's common for several medics to swarm one down player, while other soldiers nearby bleed out, which is why you should try to avoid piling onto the same player, unless you're specifically asked to help out. The most useful medics are those who move to where they're actually needed. When you avoid bunching up and stay mobile, you can respond faster, save more players, and make a far bigger impact. And as you become more experienced, you will start to learn the next tip, which is who to prioritize on the battlefield. When treating wounded soldiers, your priority should be to stop bleeding players first. All they require is a quick tap from the first aid kit for the bleeding to stop. Once everyone around you has stopped bleeding, you can focus on reviving any downed players near you. Once they are all up, you can start to heal everyone to full health. In the chaos of battle, it won't always go perfectly, but aim to follow that order when possible. Also keep in mind that revives are only reliable if the wounded have at least 4 seconds left on their timer. Any less and you're likely wasting plasma. Once you've learned these first 5 tips, the next tip I recommend is joining small squads when possible. Medics play a crucial role in small squad operations, where every individual matters and casualties can quickly derail the mission. These specialized missions, such as partisan runs, flanking tanks, or base tap operations, often operate far from the main front and outside the regular support lines. Without a medic, any downed soldier is effectively lost, forcing a respawn and a long trip that weakens the squad's strength and slows the operation down. A single medic in the group can keep the team intact, allowing players to stay in the fight longer and have a chance at completing the mission successfully. During these missions and on the front, it's good for medics to have good situation awareness. Situational awareness is one of the most important skills a medic can develop. In the craziness of battle, medics must constantly scan the field to assess where they're needed most and which wounded players can actually be saved. Charging blindly into the first down body you see without checking for enemy fire, artillery, or the presence of tanks can get you killed. And if you die, so does your ability to help anyone else. By paying attention to the flow of combat, threats on the field, the layout of defenses, and friendly movement, a medic can choose safer paths to reach the wounded, avoid overcrowded areas, and make smarter decisions about where to act. Good situational awareness allows medics to cover gaps that others might miss. If one area is saturated with medics while another is being overrun with no support, it's up to the observant medic to rotate and fill that need. Always try to understand the state of the battlefield. Who's pushing, who's falling back, where the fire's coming from. Knowing these types of things help medics prioritize effectively. And you should know as a medic that there is no rule that says you need to be passive. You are more than welcome to join the fight at any time and bring a secondary weapon. While the core role of medic is to heal and revive, having a secondary weapon and knowing when to use it is just as essential to survival. Even if you prefer a more passive, support-focused playstyle, you still need a way to defend yourself when the front shifts suddenly or an enemy flanks your position. As a medic, you're near the action and can quickly become a target, especially if you're caught alone or while reviving someone. A sidearm, submachine gun, shotgun, or even a basic rifle gives you a fighting chance when the enemy shows up at close range, and can make the difference between holding the line or becoming another body on the ground. In fact, one of the key principles taught in organized squads is that every soldier, regardless of role, is a rifleman first. Being a medic doesn't exempt you from that responsibility. It simply adds another layer of priorities. Many medics fall into the mindset of thinking they're there only to heal, which can leave them unprepared when a firefight breaks out nearby. Keeping a secondary weapon ready, staying alert, and returning fire when needed can save not only your life, but the lives of the players you're there to support. A medic who can both shoot and save is far more valuable on the battlefield. And something you must always remember is there's no such thing as war crimes. In the world of Foxhole, war crimes don't exist, at least not in a traditional real-world sense. There are no enforced rules of engagement or protections under the Geneva Conventions. Medics aren't given any special treatment or legal immunity, and enemy players are under no obligation to spare you simply because you're carrying a trauma kit instead of a rifle. As a result, medics are just as much of a target as anyone else, especially since reviving and healing can swing the momentum of battle. On the battlefield, everyone is fair game, and that includes you, no matter how noble your intentions may be. With that said though, Foxhole is also a game rooted in player interaction, and sometimes you'll run into enemy medics or soldiers who show mercy or want to share a moment of humanity in the middle of the chaos. If you ever come across an enemy medic not immediately hostile, there's a rare but rewarding chance to try and friend them, even if it's just for a brief cease fire or to exchange salutes. These moments, while uncommon, can be some of the most memorable in the game. They remind us beyond the trenches and artillery, it's still a player-driven war game, and every so often the medics from both sides recognize the shared struggle of just trying to keep people alive. And the last tip I want to go over today is how to utilize ambulances, medical tents, and medical bunkers. When working with this vehicle or these structures, it's almost like playing another kind of role as medic. You're sort of a logi-medic player who can improve the frontline survivability and efficiency by producing more bandages, shirts, first aid kits, and trauma kits. While the ambulance can be fragile and tricky to manage, it becomes incredibly effective when coordinated with other medics. I recommend creating a dedicated medical squad and parking the ambulance just outside of artillery range. This should help you establish a reliable resupply hub. It's good to put spare bandages, plasma, and gear looted from the field in these vehicles. This gives medics a consistent spot to restock or a place to recover from wounds without falling back to the base. It's also a convenient place to drop off critically wounded soldiers and get them back to the medical tents. Though it takes some practice and management, a well-used ambulance can make a major difference on the battlefield. For longer-term support, medical bunkers and tents, especially field hospitals, offer more durable, team-accessible solutions for medics. These static structures don't risk being stolen, destroyed, or forgotten like ambulances, and players naturally gravitate towards them. Building one just behind the front lines or next to a bunker base, but not in a critical defensive spot, gives medics and infantry alike a place to drop off critically wounded soldiers. And those are all my quick tips for playing medic. I also wanted to throw in some tips on how other players can help medics around them. Even if you're not playing as a medic, there are still several ways that you can support medics on the front lines. One of the simplest yet most helpful things you can do is sit still when being healed. Many players make the mistake of moving or running around mid-treatment, which can interrupt the healing process. Next, if you're down, communicate how many seconds you have left on your timer, so the medic knows whether it's worth attempting to revive you or not. Also, if you notice medical supplies like bandages or plasma lying around on the field, let the medics know. This can save them a trip back to the base and help them stay equipped to keep others alive. Another tip for when you're down is if you're in a dangerous or exposed spot and it's likely a trap, either give up or call out the threat to avoid luring medics into the death trap. When a medic is healing you, make sure you provide cover if possible, and never use the medic as a shield. Their survival is critical to keeping others alive. If you're with logistics, try to resupply forward bunkers with basic medical items. Supporting medics in these small ways ensures they can focus on what they do best, saving lives and keeping the front line strong. And that wraps it all up. If you're an experienced medic or even just someone with useful advice, don't hesitate to share your own tips and tricks below in the comments section. And if you haven't tried playing medic yet, it's absolutely worth giving it a shot. It's one of the most rewarding roles in Foxhole. If you would like to join a community of other medic players, I would recommend checking out the Foxhole Medical Union Discord. It's a cross-faction hub full of experienced medics and people ready to help you improve your medic playstyle. I will leave a link to their Discord in the description below. Also, make sure to watch Freeric's Medic Guide if you're new. It's a fantastic resource, especially for learning the basics. I will leave a link to that video in the description below as well. And last for everyone, don't forget to commend your medics. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support. Make sure to subscribe for more Foxhole content. I'll see you out on the battlefield. Cheers.